This is Joseph with Powerlifting Technique, and today what we're going to talk about are the proper angles for your back using the squat, the deadlift, and the leg press. So I'm not in my normal environment. I'm in front of a whiteboard just to give you guys some context. In addition to being an online strength and conditioning coach, I'm also a college professor too. So I teach different classes, care prevention, fitness programming, and intro to kinesiology. One of those classes that I just mentioned, though, is very pivotal for my career, and that is the care and prevention of athletic injury. What's great about that class is we talk about the mechanics of movement and the mechanisms of injury. And one of the mechanisms of injury for strength athletes is specific positioning, especially with a loaded barbell, or in the case of the leg press, a loaded machine. But by the end of the video, you will know the proper mechanics to hit a good squat, a good deadlift, or a good leg press based on the math behind movement. Let's go ahead and start with the squat. What's different about the squat is that the weight for the squat is displaced on the back. Okay, so let's assume this is the barbell, all right? And with that having happened, it's different than the deadlift because the deadlift's in front. That's gonna influence this hip joint to look just a bit different. But as you can see in the image right here, this person has a loaded barbell. It's tracking a little bit behind the foot. So I'm gonna fix the mechanics of this person real quick to make it a little bit more realistic. Okay, so when you squat, you want this barbell to be across the middle of the foot. So this is the foot right here. I know this is exaggerated, this is not realistic, but you want the weight to be above the midfoot because that means you don't have too much weight in the front or too much weight in the back and you fall over. Now, when you look at this person in the mechanics, the best angle for squatting is gonna be about 45 degrees, okay? It's a lot different than a deadlift, and I'll explain here in just a minute. But this angle right here with the 45 degree means this person's posture is a bit more upright, so that if the spine is a bit more upright, it's not leaning over and putting more pressure on that low back. It's also assumed too that this person has a strong core, can keep themselves upright, and have the best mechanics possible. So I'm gonna try to imagine maybe a person being longer at the torso. Now, this has decreased from 45 degrees, and this is due to someone with a longer torso or maybe someone with a high bar. Okay, so when it comes down to squatting, some people are going to advocate for a low bar squat because if you can move the barbell down, see how that corresponds to the midfoot, that's a bit more of a realistic approach. And the further you go down the back, the closer you are to the lower part of that lever, it helps you be more upright and have better posture. So the moral of the story right here is everybody's body types are a little bit different. We want to be at 45 degrees upright to face forward and have good mechanics, but the longer your torso can become, the more you're hunched over, you might decrease that posture at the hip joint, and that can make it to where you could feel pain in the low back or suffer from an injury in that case as well. So make sure, if this is you, to try to advocate for a low bar position because the low bar corresponds to the midfoot. That can help with your posture and mechanics and put less pressure on the back. So I would say squat, you want to be at 45 degrees. Now for deadlift, that's a bit of a different story, okay? So when you start with the deadlift, you don't want to start hips low. Your hips are going to be a bit higher. Right here, when it is this position, they're going to grab the barbell, which is loaded right here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my whiteboard art. So with this right here, the deadlift, it's very important to be in an advantageous position such as this. We're going to assume they're in a conventional stance. But what's happening here is that you want to have your arms over the bar and your arms are vertical as well as your shins. So if I drew out the shin, it would be straight. So this is what the mechanics would look like right here, and then the barbells on top. So you want to grab straight down. So you have a straight line here, a straight line here, and now you can pull the weight up to success. But notice this angle right here, okay? This angle arguably could look as if it's 90 degrees, okay? Now, I'm pretty sure this is at 90. It's probably a little bit less. But I would say for someone who wants to deadlift, the best back position or the best back angle is going to be probably 70 degrees to maybe inching towards 90 degrees, okay? So your hips open a lot more. This situation right here with the hips opening a bit more is helping that posture be more upright. That's what deadlifters want to do. They want to have more upright mechanics. And that's why people might invest in the sumo stance. Because if they can widen their stance and get closer to the floor, that means that they're more tall and they put less pressure on their back. But because most traditional athletes and strength athletes and even strongmen have to have a conventional stance, I'm going to keep working this position right here of the conventional stance. Now, let's imagine this, all right? Let's say you are going to grab the bar, okay? This one is me, all right? So this image is me right here. Let's say I have to grab the bar, but my arm's short. Look at my arm right here. I got to reach even further. So if I have to reach down more, that's going to mean that I'm going to have to come down more and I have a different back angle. So maybe instead of being here, maybe I'm here. Okay. So now this has decreased a ton. This is maybe a little bit more than that 45 degree. So here's the problem. If you have shorter arms and have to reach down further, you're lower, and now there's more resistance on this lever, okay, between the hip joint and the head, the spine. We'll say that's the lever of itself. So if you have shorter arms, you have to go down further. That makes this movement a lot harder because you have to travel even further. So to fix this problem, what some people do is they invest in the sumo stance. I don't, but I did start off as a sumo lifter, and I feel like that did help my posture more upright because of these mechanics. I do think depending on your body type, it's going to change. However, I would advocate for 70 to 90 degrees with the back angle. And if that means conventional stance or sumo stance, whatever it has to be, you need to go for that to be more upright, to eliminate the issues of injury and to prevent those for the future. But like I said, you can't train your genetics. So unfortunately, you just have to stick with what you have and just work around that to help you be in a better position. But I know for the squat and the deadlift, it's all about being upright. Hopefully you're learning some things about where to place the bar, especially on squat, or how to place your stance, especially when you're with the deadlift too. Now, me drawing a leg press is going to be insanely ugly. So just bear with me. I got someone who is working right here, the seated one where it's the platform and they're pushing it this way. And you got the machine where you sit here, and then you got the legs of the machine. Okay, this is a very ugly picture. So with the leg press, I would say the back positioning really depends on the setting of the leg press. So you see how this person's gonna squat the platform this way? You see how tiny this angle is? This makes it very hard, okay? I'm gonna say this is even perhaps like 30 degrees. So that makes it very tricky, all right? So I would say if you're someone who's leg pressing, you can take this and pull it down so that you open up more. That's gonna keep you from bringing in all that resistance so tight into your core and make you a bit more successful with your effort. So I feel like this conversation is more important about the squat and the deadlifts, but if you have a leg press and you feel like you're scrunched in the machine, take the back pad and open it up a bit more to help you with your efforts so that you're not stuck in a tight position. So I would say if you can get closer to 45 degrees than 30, that would be your best effort there. So all in all, the back position of the squat and the deadlift needs to be more upright, okay? You can't hit 90, but you can try, but a lot of it depends on where the bar is placed. Is it on your back? Is it in front of you? And what can you do with your stance or with your grip to fix that problem? And then when it comes to the leg press, it's hard to fix some machines because they're not as mobile. But in this situation, if the back can come down, I've seen some leg presses that will do that. Please do that so that you open up a bit more than 30 degrees and you're too scrunched into a machine. So I hope today's lesson has been super helpful. Like I mentioned, I'm not always in the gym. I'm also in the classroom as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a few things. If you're not sure about certain components of this video, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, give us your thoughts, let us know what you think. And hopefully, with having done all these little images on the board, you learned something new and you become a better lifter today.